everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I have used an old pillowcase to make a knotted hairband. These hairbands have been quite popular over the past few months, so I decided to make one myself. So let's get into it. For this project I used a pillowcase that I got as part of a free bedding bundle. I really liked the blue and white square pattern and thought it would look nice as a hairband. I started by cutting along all the seams of the pillowcase, so I had two separate pieces of fabric. I only used one side of the pillowcase, but I'm sure I'll be using the other half for another project. First, I drew a straight line down one of the sides. This was so I would have a straight edge to work with when cutting out the pieces I needed. Then I measured and marked one piece that was 3 inches wide and 18 inches long. I then cut this out. Next, I measured and marked two pieces that were 4 inches wide and 17 inches long, and cut these out. These were my 3 pieces. These 2 pieces will make the knotted part of the hairband, which is the front piece, and this piece will become the back piece of the hairband. Taking one of these pieces, I folded it in half, right sides together, and pinned along the long edge. I then repeated this for the other 2 pieces. Once everything was pinned in place, I sewed where I'd pinned. This is how they looked. I turned all these pieces inside out so they were now the right way round. I used a safety pin to help me do this. This is what I had so far. Next, I worked on the back piece. This is elasticated so it will sit comfortably around the back of the neck and hold the hairband in place. I cut a piece of elastic that was 6 inches long. I pinned one end of the elastic to the piece of fabric and attached a safety pin to the other end. I then fed the elastic through the piece of fabric. Once I'd fed it all the way through the fabric, I made sure that the end of the elastic was level with the end of the fabric and pinned it in place. I then repeated this for the other end of the hairband. I then sewed where I'd pinned. This is how it looked once it was sewn. I now needed to make the knotted part of the hairband, which is the front piece. Taking one of these pieces, I placed it so the seam was facing up. Then, taking the second piece, I placed this over the first piece with the seam facing down. Next, I took the ends of each piece and placed them together, crossing over the other piece of fabric. This is how the knot is made. I then needed to attach the back piece to the front piece. I placed the back piece right sides together with one end of the front piece. Next, I folded the sides of the front piece over the end of the back piece and pinned it in place. I then repeated this for the other end of the hairband. Once both ends were pinned in place, I sewed where I'd pinned. This is how it looked. I then cut off the excess fabric so it looked a bit neater. Now that everything was sewn, I pulled the sides of the front piece over the ends of the back piece so the stitches would be hidden and give the hairband a neater finish. Once I'd done that, I turned the hairband over so the right side of the fabric was on the outside. The hairband was now complete and this is how it looked. I was so happy with how it looked and it was so quick and easy to make. This project is good for beginners who would like to make their own accessories and is also a good way to use any leftover fabric you may have. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next video.